All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, welcome back.
This time we're going deep on something that's, well, literally about going deep, diving. We're going to be looking at your diving manuals,
Right.
specifically at a section in there that's called Accessories, Signals, and After the Dive. And we're going to see if we can't extract some need-to-know info about staying safe down there.
Yeah, and I can try to answer any questions you might have about the content.
You bet. Okay, so you're all geared up, about to plunge into a coral reef. Water's that perfect, shimmering turquoise all around you.
Exhilarating.
Right. But hold on a sec, because before we take the plunge,
Right.
let's make sure we can all speak, well, not speak, but, communicate down there.
Right. Got to be able to communicate.
Because it's more than just small talk, right?
Yeah, way more.
It's about safety, and we're diving right into that with this deep dive.
For sure. It really is like a whole other language down there.
Totally. It's really cool, actually, how we have to adapt even the most basic stuff to a completely different environment underwater. And when I say basic stuff, I'm talking about communication. For example, let's see here. The diving slate.
Right. Yeah.
Basically like an underwater notepad, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. It's the best way to get a message across down there.
Yeah.
Especially, well, I mean, you can't exactly just rip
Right.
out your phone and send a text.
Yeah. Although now that you mention it, has anybody tried making one of those?
I'm sure someone's working on it.
A waterproof, high-pressure smartphone.
Yeah, deep sea smartphone.
Yeah. For asking for a friend, obviously, but,
Of course, yeah.
someone who likes to post on social media.
Right, right.
Okay, so back to the slate. Good for a quick message. Or maybe like a little diagram of a cool fish you found.
Exactly. That's a good example.
Classic underwater communication.
Yeah.
So speaking of making your presence known down there,
Okay.
the surface marker buoy, that's in the manual too. It's like a little inflatable "come find me" sign.
Yeah, exactly.
You come up from a dive and it's like waving in the breeze.
Right, like you see in all those documentaries.
But I never really thought about it like as a safety thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
More like just a way to mark the dive spot.
Right, but it definitely is a safety thing, too. Like, imagine you surface a bit further from the boat than you meant to, and the current's picking up. That buoy is, well, it's essential.
Oh, yeah.
It's a beacon for your boat and any other boats out there.
Totally.
So, yeah, it's super important.
But speaking of safety, we have to talk about hand signals.
Right.
Those are important.
Probably the most important part of communicating down there.
It's like sign language, but underwater.
Yeah.
And way more serious.
Definitely more serious.
It's like all those signals tell you everything you need to know about air and depth and time.
Exactly.
All that good stuff.
Yeah, that's why you need to know them before you go down.
Oh, for sure.
Practice with your buddy and all that.
So let's talk about some of the signals, starting with the air check.
Okay, yeah.
That one's like silently asking, hey, you still good down here?
Still breathing.
Exactly.
So for that one, you just show your buddy your gauge, make sure they can see it, and then you point at it with your other hand.
Easy enough.
It's easy, yeah.
And super important.
The easiest way to make sure everyone's got enough air.
I bet. And I'm guessing that clear, simple style applies to like the depth check too.
Yeah, definitely.
We're underwater, so
Right.
depth awareness is huge.
It's important, yeah.
So for the depth check, is there like a special hand signal for that?
Well, it's usually the dive leader who starts that one. They give the signal, and everyone else responds.
Gotcha. So how does that work?
So the leader make a fist, but with their thumb sticking out, point the thumb down, and then touch it to the back of their other hand.
Okay, so like they're pointing their thumb at the seabed.
Exactly. And then everyone else signals back how deep they are.
So what, like holding up 2 fingers means 20 meters down?
Exactly. 2 fingers for 20, 3 for 30.
Makes sense. Keeps it simple.
You got to stay aware of your depth down there. It's not like you can just look up and see how far you've come.
Yeah, no handy signs pointing back up to the surface. Though that would be cool, come to think of it.
Right. Maybe someday. But seriously, those regular depth checks, they're crucial for staying safe.
For sure. Have you ever had anyone like misread a hand signal underwater?
Oh, all the time. It happens. I remember one dive. I was with this buddy. He was new to cold water diving, and he had these big, thick gloves on. Kept giving the okay signal,
Yeah.
But with the gloves, it looked like the low on air signal.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we figured it out pretty quick.
Yeah,
But it just goes to show you, even with those standard signals, it's all about context.
absolutely. So once it's actually time to head back up,
Yeah.
what's the signal for that?
That's the end the dive signal. Pretty important one, obviously. You just cross your arms in front of you, make an X shape.
Easy peasy. No waving goodbye to the fish or anything.
Nope, no time for that.
Right. Gotta get up to the surface nice and slow.
Exactly. Got to be careful about decompression and all that.
Which reminds me, there was something in the manual
Yeah.
about the, what was it, the 2040 rule?
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm a little fuzzy on what that is
Yeah.
exactly.
No problem. It's basically a rule of thumb for recreational diving.
Okay.
Basically, don't go deeper than 20 meters or stay down longer than 40 minutes
Yeah.
unless you're doing decompression stops.
Okay, I see.
Keeps you safe. Helps you avoid getting decompression sickness.
Right, the bends and all that. So
Exactly.
it's kind of like a reminder, in case you're having too much fun down there and lose track of time.
That's a good way to put it. Like you're checking out a shipwreck or something.
Yeah.
You're really engrossed. That's when it's easy to forget how long you've been down.
Totally.
That's what the 2040 rule is for.
Right. Reminds you there's a whole other world up above.
Exactly.
And speaking of what happens up there,
Right.
what about after the dive?
Yeah.
What then?
Oh,
Besides telling your dive buddy is all about what you saw, obviously.
of course. Of course. Well, while you're doing that, your body's actually working pretty hard.
Oh.
It is. Yeah. Remember those nitrogen bubbles we talked about?
Yeah.
That's why you can't just like hop on a plane right after a dive.
Right, right. Something about a decompression sickness, is that it? So decompression sickness, that's the thing, right?
Right. Exactly. Decompression sickness or
Yeah.
the bends
Yeah.
happens when those nitrogen bubbles, well, they build up when you're diving. Right.
Right, right.
And if they don't have enough time to get released, as you're coming up,
That's when you get the bends.
that's it.
Okay, so how can we, help our bodies get rid of those bubbles?
Time. That's the big thing. The more time you give it,
Yeah.
the more that nitrogen your body can release naturally.
So that's why they say you have to wait after a dive.
Exactly.
Before you fly. Or
Exactly.
get dug out.
Usually at least 12 hours, sometimes even 24. Really depends on the dive, how deep you went, all that.
So no quick trips up to the top of the Eiffel Tower then? If you've been diving in an aquarium or something.
Probably not a good idea, no.
Right, right. And it's not just flying, is it?
No strenuous activity too.
What, even exercise?
Yeah, your body's been working hard already, You've got those pressure changes, getting rid of that nitrogen. You don't want to overdo it.
So just take it easy for a bit.
Exactly.
Relax on the beach, maybe.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, cool, cool. Anything else we need to avoid after a dive?
This one might surprise you,
Yeah.
but you shouldn't go free diving right after a scuba dive.
Really? Why is that? I mean, you're not even using tanks for free diving.
It's all about the nitrogen levels again.
Yeah.
Even though you're holding your breath with free diving, all those ups and downs, they mess with how your body gets rid of the nitrogen.
Huh. Who knew?
It's like shaking up a soda bottle.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You're just asking for trouble.
It's amazing how much goes on after a dive, even when you're back on dry land.
That's the underwater world for you. Always keeping you on your toes.
And that's why we love it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that about covers it for this deep dive.
Yeah, we covered a lot.
We talked about all those important hand signals, the ones that help us communicate down there.
Right. That's the key.
And we went over all the reasons why we need those post-dive precautions.
Absolutely. Super important stuff.
It's incredible how much there is to think about.
It really is. But if you're aware of it all,
Yeah.
makes diving that much safer and more enjoyable for everyone.
For sure. For sure. Well said. All right, everybody. That's it for today. Until next time, stay safe out there. Enjoy the underwater world. And don't forget those hand signals.